can't believe they canceled it already. The new Hulu show, Why the Last Man, not even finished with the first season and they already canceled the show. I want to talk about it. There was a new show that started not too long ago called Why the Last Man. It's based on a comic of the same name. A little while before the show started, I want to say about a month or so before the show started, I was watching the Blerd Cave, Blerd Without Fear YouTube channel. I'll link it up in the description below. I was watching one of their live streams and one of the guys on the show, Carter, he was talking about Why the Last Man, the comic. After he talked about the comic for a little bit, I thought it was pretty interesting. So I went and I got the whole series, and one weekend I just started reading it and I was hooked from the beginning, read the whole entire series over the course of a weekend, and it was pretty good. Now, if you don't know what Why the Last Man is, Why the Last Man, the comic, is based on one day every living being that had a Y chromosome died. So that means that all men, all boys, all male animals, everything that had a Y chromosome died except for this one guy named Yorick and his pet monkey, which is weird. That's all comic book stuff there. So basically the whole comic just shows how the world become after this happens, Yorick, the last man that's found, he was just a regular, average kind of man baby type guy, kind of annoying. He was kind of like a pampered child a little bit. He was an adult, but he was just kind of an annoying character. And basically what happens is he gets assigned to this secret agent and they have to travel across the country to try to meet up with a scientist and try to find some kind of cure because, he's the last male left alive on the planet and his monkey also happened to be a male. And it was pretty interesting. It was pretty interesting show, comic, because of all of the stuff that happened, all of the stuff that went on in the comic. It was just outrageous, but I was really into that comic when it was over with. And when the TV show came out, I was like, okay, I'm all in. I'm curious to see how they're going to do the show. I knew that they wasn't going to get it right, but I still had enough interest in it that I wanted to see it. So the show comes on, I'm watching the show, and of course, like I suspected, they didn't really get it right. And I think the things that they did, I don't know why a lot of times when things get adapted from comic books or anything like that, they don't always do this, but a lot of times what happens is that they try to put so much of their own spin on things that they ruin the property, They kind of made the show out to have more of a feel like The Walking Dead. When you read the comic, it wasn't that type of feel. It didn't have that type of tone. And they really spent a lot of episodes fleshing out characters that they didn't need to flesh out, things that, like in a comic book, the things that made the comic good is that, things was going on and then these things would come up and surprise you and shock you and you can't believe this happened and all of this kind of stuff. But in the show, instead of them going along and letting those surprises pop up and letting those surprises shock you, they spend like an episode or 2 episodes giving you a whole backstory on this particular situation or on this character that wasn't given in the comics, that completely takes away from the thing that made the comics interesting, in my opinion. Some people may disagree with me. But yeah, like for example, if you watch the show, they spent like about 3 episodes focusing on the president and politics and all of this stuff. And in the comics, it was like 1 page. I might be exaggerating a little bit, but they didn't spend nowhere near the amount of time on the whole political aspect of the first half of this show in the comics that they did on the show. And I think that kind of stuff going too far away, I always feel like when you adapt something, a lot of things when they adapt stuff, if they don't they don't have to completely do everything like the original. They don't have to do everything like it was in the game. They don't have to do everything like it was in the comics. They don't have to do everything like it was in the book, but they have to stick to the spirit of the original material. They have to still, even though they may put their own spin on it, even though they may change up stories or add to it, you still have to stay within the spirit of the original content, because the spirit of the original content is what make that original content popular in its own medium. And if you're going to bring it over, you got to stick with that. If you want that same popularity for the same reasons, you got to stick to it. You know, you can't just be like, oh, we're Hollywood, we know better, we're going to do our own thing. That's what happened with this show, you know. And this show was in development hell for a long time. I think they first tried to make this back in 2007, and they've been going back and forth. And maybe they did have it right at first, but just with all of the time it took for them to get things together and finally create a show, it's probably been through so many iterations of the scripts and the storyline and everything like that, that it just kind of, at the end, you didn't have a show that gave you the same feel and the same overall, you know, enjoyment as the comic gave the people who read the comic and enjoyed the comic. But yeah, Y: The Last Man, even though I say that, I still enjoyed the show. I was still watching the show. I still wanted to see how they were going to handle the new things that they added on. I still wanted to see how they were going to handle it. Even though I disagreed with the direction they went in some things, I still wanted to see how they were going to handle it and how it was going to turn out. But I guess we'll never see that now, because they just announced recently that they canceling the show and there won't be a season 2. And where they are in the show right now is still a long way to go to finish up this storyline. So it kind of sucks, you know. It kind of sucks that you have a show like this. And I feel like it's, even though I disagree with the direction they went with on the show, and I feel like the book was a whole lot more interesting, and they kind of left out a lot of the stuff that made the book interesting when they translated it to the TV show, I still feel like it was good enough that it should deserve its run. You know, I don't know. I'm kind of upset about it a little bit, even though I shouldn't be, because it's not that great of a show, but I enjoyed it enough to where I wanted to see where it was going to go. But yeah, I'm upset. Luckily though, well, not luckily, but maybe there's a chance that somebody else will pick it up. Another station will pick it up and finish it out. Maybe that'll happen. I can only hope. But yeah, I'm kind of upset about this show. Even though I wasn't that high on the show, I kind of wanted to see it through. And that's Y: The Last Man. Yeah, one season, one and done. That's it. You know, hopefully somebody will pick it up. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say today. I didn't really have a review or anything. I just wanted to express my opinion on this show because I kind of feel like it got canceled a little too soon. But if you like this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Click subscribe, and thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. While you're here, why don't you check out that video right there? Or maybe that one right there. And while you're at it, go ahead and click that little picture of my image there and subscribe to my channel.